Nowadays, manifestation is a really hot topic, and everyone is sharing their experiences and teaching several techniques. Some say to practice the 369 technique, some ask you to do scripting, some ask you to use the whisper method, while others say to practice the 555 technique. There are countless techniques that people are mentioning, but no one is telling why you have to do them. What happens when you perform techniques? When people don't understand this, they misinterpret the process of manifestation. They start to believe that manifestation is about techniques. When this happens, they get focused on finding the best techniques and new techniques, and they put the techniques on a pedestal. This takes them far from the real truth, the true essence of manifestation. But worry no more, as once you grasp this, you will understand the key to effortless manifestation and realize that techniques do not manifest. You can use them or you can ignore them. Only this one thing matters, and it changes the way you perceive manifestation. So, whatever your desire is, you can manifest it effortlessly. Let me give you an example. Imagine an infinite floor. On this floor, there are infinite symmetrical square tiles. This floor is never ending, and you have the freedom to choose a tile that you like. When you choose this tile, you have to stand on it. As you stand on this tile for a certain period of time, this tile disappears, and like a twisting slide in the water park, you go on a journey that lands you up in a world where you get what you choose. Now the tile here represents a state of consciousness. There are infinite states of consciousness. Standing on it represents persisting in that state. The journey of traveling on the twisting slide represents the bridge of incidents. Landing in the world where you get what you choose represents your manifestation. You have the freedom to choose your state of consciousness. Every moment you are making a choice, you are free to choose. When you make that choice, you have to persist in that state of consciousness. And then you will go through some bridge of events that will take you to a place where you get your manifestation physically. This is the entire process of manifestation. Now, the techniques are just a way to persist in the state of consciousness. When you perform this technique, you stand on that tile. You persist in that state of consciousness. You dwell in that state of consciousness. And as a result, you change the state and you get what you wanted. Your present level of consciousness will only be transcended as you drop the present state and rise to a higher level. You rise to a higher level of consciousness by taking your attention away from your present limitations and placing it upon that which you desire to be. Claim yourself to be the thing desired. All that is asked of you is to accept your desire. If you dare claim it, you will express it. There are no causes other than your own state of consciousness. You decide what you want, you claim it, and you get it. The majority of people focus on the limitations, but the key is to disregard the limitations. Their focus remains on their failures and problems, and therefore they manifest similar things in their reality. So, it is all about entering a state of consciousness and remaining there until it materializes physically. In this world, there are infinite states of consciousness that can be occupied by you. You only have to become aware of them. They already exist. Just look at them as parallel realities or different timelines with different versions of you. Right now you are in a state of consciousness, and you are dwelling in it. It is happening automatically as you are habitual to it. According to Neville Goddard, a state is an attitude of mind, a state of experience with a body of beliefs that you live by. Always expressing a state, you identify yourself with it by saying, I am poor or I am rich. I am known or I am unknown. I am wanted or I am unwanted. So, your beliefs and your identity are states. They are the states of consciousness that you chose a long time ago, and now they have become your reality. These states can be changed, it can be done, and it is easy to do so. To start this process, you first have to become mentally aware of that state. You do this by thinking of it. When you think of it, you get clarity. Clarity is one of the most important steps. Then, once you are clear about it, now is the time to start imagining. Now, what do you have to imagine? Well, you have to imagine the state of the wish fulfilled. You have the ability to choose and identify with any state that you like. You have to assume that you are what you want it to be. And as you accept and feel it as true, you enter the state of the wish fulfilled. You can do this with the help of technology. You have to accept that the state you are choosing is true. You don't have to make any external efforts. You don't have to convince your friends, family members, or the world to look at you in a certain way. You don't need any other man's approval. You just have to occupy a state internally. All it requires is an internal action. You have to make that internal shift and accept it internally. The moment you are feeling different, the moment you are mentally thinking as if the desire has been fulfilled, you are occupying that state. Now that you have occupied this state, you have to persist in it. You have to remain in that state and make it your natural or habitual state. When you make this new state your habitual state, then your physical reality starts reflecting your changed state in your reality. In the initial days, it may seem like a task that you have to accomplish. But as soon as you disregard your current limitations and, in your mind's eye, accept the new state as true, you start making it a dominant state within you. Now, you have to repeat this process. Repetition is required. You have to do it over and over again. When doubts come to your mind, you have to remind yourself that the doubts are just old news. They are past. They do not matter. Your new state matters. Your new beliefs and assumptions matter, and that is how you shift yourself to this new state. The law is simple. The law is to the point. It says that your state is everything. State is the version of yourself. State is who you identify yourself as. The techniques are tools that help you move from one state to another. Take a moment and ask yourself, how would I feel if I had my desire right now? What would my thoughts be if I had my desire right now? The thoughts and feelings that come to you are your answers to your new state of consciousness. Neville Goddard said, "Our imagination connects us with the state desired." But we must use imagination masterfully, not as an onlooker thinking of the end, but as a partaker thinking from the end. We must actually be there in our imagination. If we do this, our subjective experience will be objectively realized. Like Neville said, we must actually be there in our imagination. We have to be partakers and think from the end instead of the end. When you think from the end and make it a habit, then your thoughts come naturally from your new state. These thoughts will release all doubts. You will forget your limitations, and then your desire will materialize in your reality. You will think that it would have happened anyway. In order to change the state, you can perform any technique. I have designed one such technique that is effortless. You just have to relax, either by lying down or sitting comfortably and surrendering to the voice. Just click on the first video that appears at the end of the screen to make it happen.